Hello all and welcome to this last minute strategy session. So what is the purpose of this session? The session is to tell you some important strategy with the help of which you will be able to clear the examination. So last minute strategy it is called because that we are having only 25 days left to write the prelim examination 2021. You know that this examination was earlier scheduled to have been taken place by June 27. But 100 days they have postponed this examination. 100 days they postponed the examination. Around 100 days examination got postponed. And the question is now, how effectively we use the 100 days? Whatever days we have missed out, these days we cannot recreate. But what maximum we can do is we'll be able to ensure that the last 25 days will be utilized by us very judiciously so that we also have a very fair chance to crack this civil services prelims examination. So how are we going to strategize our preparation? The strategy, meaning methods we have to adopt to crack this examination. Methods can be taught to you in the form of previous question papers. So it is through the previous question papers of 2020, 2019 and 2018. Three previous year question papers I am taking. With the help of these three previous year question papers, let us identify some methods, some strategies with the help of which we will be able to clear this examination. Right. Now, I will be teaching today the strategy connected to Indian polity, and the remaining sessions will be handled by the expert faculties who will be giving you the strategies connected to their subjects, because there is no one size which can be a fit for all. It depends on the nature of the subject. The strategy depends on the nature of the subject. So we'll take up Indian polity last 3 years questions to strategize us, to better us, to tackle the questions relatively in a easier way. Before going to the strategy, I just wanted to answer 3 basic questions as of now. Number 1, what to study? And number 2, how to study? Number 3, how long to study? These are 3 fundamental questions which you have to learn before going to the strategy class on Indian polity. The first question is, some basics connected to how you are going ahead with the preparation in the days to come. I've told you that 3 important questions you have to answer. First is, what to study? Second, how to study? And third, how long to study? Coming to the first question, what to study? This is a very, very simple question which every one of you know, that you have to study some 5 major subjects as far as GS is concerned, plus the 6th dimension is nothing but current affairs of all the 5 subjects, and secondly CSAT, right? So 5 subjects plus current affairs you have to study. How to study? This is the second important question. How to study? Which subject is having more factual information? Those subjects will have to be studied in the last. Those subjects which are highly conceptual in nature, if you understand the concept, you may not memorize. There is no need for memorization. You just have to understand the concepts. So concept based questions or concept based subjects can be studied first, and information loaded subjects can be studied last. Why information based subjects will have to be studied last? Because if you study now, before 25 days, in the examination, you will be forgetting those informations. So, which are information loaded subjects? Those subjects will have to be studied in the last. For example, history is full of informations. It requires memory power. It requires so much of memorization. So, history like information based subjects can be studied in the last, and concept based subjects can be studied first. Take for example, concept based science and technology, concept based economics, concept based Indian polity to some extent, concept based geography. They can be taken first, and the last to be taken can be history, because as I have told, it is full of facts. Right? You have to study ideally 12 hours a day. Easily you can study 12 hours a day, right? So how will you split up this 12 hours? You can split up this 12 hours in this way: 3 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, and 1, 1. First 3 hours should be GS, one subject. Second 3 hours should be GS, another subject. Then this 2 hours will have to be your current affairs, and this 2 hours MCQs you have to solve. Daily 100 questions you have to solve. Mandatory it is. Daily you have to solve how many questions? 100 questions you have to solve. And this 1 hour is for CSAT. Practice questions. This 1 hour is for CSAT practice questions. And this last 1 hour, I'm dividing this into two portions. Half an hour you have to see map, because we find that map based questions are asked repeatedly in the last 3 years. Places in news is a very, very important area. Also, the national parks and their geographical location is very, very important area, right? So basically map you have to see every day half an hour, and there is another half an hour left. What in that half an hour you can do is fastly go through this India yearbook. Fastly you have to go through the India yearbook. So 3 plus 3, 6 plus 2, 8, 8 plus 2, 10, 11, 12, 12 hours is our target. Daily 12 hours. Preferably, you have to start your preparation early, which means that I wanted you to wake up by 5 a.m., do some sort of physical as well as mental exercise. And this is very, very important, my dear friends. It's not only about you learning what is written in the books. It is about how you are, tapping your mental and your physical power. Because ultimately, this examination is testing both your physical power and the mental power. Why physical power? because you have to physically sit for the examination. 2 hours morning, 2 hours afternoon, and when it comes to main examination, 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon. In between, you have only 2 hours break. So physically, it is demanding. This examination is demanding physically. And second most important thing is, this examination is only a mental game. So mind and body coordination is mandatory for us to crack this examination. How to train your mind? I tell you that you can do some sort of meditation. You need not go to a meditation class now. You have to do some sort of meditation. If for students who do not do meditation, or they have no idea about meditation, just daily 10 minutes you go for the visualization technique, which normally I used to tell. Visualization technique means just close your eyes when you wake up by 5 o'clock, right? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you refresh yourself. Then you have to do some 10 minutes of visualization. Close your eyes and imagine that you have cleared the prelims examination. Mentally, you should be able to visualize you clearing the prelims examination. Daily basis, you do this. I am telling you, this will make wonders. You practice this. 10 minutes, close your eyes. What is your goal now? Think that you have achieved that goal mentally. So prelims clearing is what is your goal now. Close your eyes for 10 minutes. Think that, visualize that results have come and you have cleared the prelims examination. That's all. So daily basis, you do this 10 minutes of visualization. You'll understand how much you will become enthusiastic, because the endorphin chemical will get secreted. I am speaking a strategy which is very scientific. It is a very scientific strategy I am telling you now. Endorphin chemical will get secreted from the brain, and that will make you very, very enthusiastic. With that mental energy, you go for some physical workout in the form of some walking, brisk walking for 20 minutes. So thereafter, you refresh yourself and start your preparation by early morning 6 o'clock. Ensure that during the examination time of UPSC, you are not sleeping. Meaning, examination is from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock, afternoon 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. So 9 to 11, you have to be in the high activation mode. 2 to 4 also, you should be in the high activation mode, because what happens if you start sleeping by 2 to 4 in the next 25 days, in UPSC examination also, you will be feeling sleepy. So train yourself according to the need of the examination. Understood? So starting the day early, ensuring that during the examination time 9 to 11 and 2 to 4, you are too active, because that is what is going to help you when it comes to the real examination on October 10th. Right? So this will be requiring around 1 hour of your time, 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. You are starting your preparation by 6 o'clock. If you start your preparation by 6 o'clock, I am telling you 12 hours you can easily study. 12 hours you can easily study. I told two important things. One is that you have to keep your mind fit. Second is you have to keep your body fit. Meaning, no spicy food item you have to eat from now onwards. Don't try any food outside your place. Whatever food you are taking as of now, that food only you have to take. Don't take any new food. Right? Secondly, you have to drink plenty of water. Thirdly, you have to eat fruits, fresh fruits. Definitely, according to the season, you can choose the fruits and you can have good food, because I'm telling you, my dear friends, this examination is not just about studying. Don't think that only by cramming the book I will be able to clear. No, that is not going to happen. A complete, comprehensive, coordinative effort is very much needed for us to crack this examination. So, keep your surrounding very positive. Don't talk to negatively, loaded friends. Don't waste time in the social media network. Don't waste time in the social media network. I am telling two times because this is very much needed. Don't just read for 1 hour and see YouTube for 2 minutes or 3 minutes, which will kill all the 1 hour of your study. So stay away from the social media completely. You have to do this preparation like a meditation for the next 25 days. In the first 15 days, you can revise all the 5 subjects, which means each subject you can spend 3 days and you can revise in the first 15 days the 5 major subjects. In the next 10 days, you can revise these 5 subjects once again. Because since you have done the revision in the first 15 days, second time when you are doing revision in the next 10 days, you will be doing that revision very fastly. Instead of reading one subject for 3 days, you can read one subject in 1.5 days in the second time revision. So first 15 days, you have to spend to complete once the entire syllabus, say 5 subjects, major subjects. Next 10 days, you have to fastly revise, right? Do not do any hectic studies on 9th of October. You plan only up to 8th of October. Don't read anything on 9th of October. And don't try to read something which is very new in the last 2-3 days and all. For example, some of you may say that I have not studied ancient India. Last 2 days, that is 8th and 9th of October, I have kept for ancient India. No, don't do that. New things don't study. Whatever you have studied so far, you try to revise that thing. Because anyhow, if you study new things, one, even if it comes in the examination, you will be getting confused. Number two, new things will not come in the examination. What you read in the 11th hour, it's not coming in the examination. In the last 1 year, whatever you have accumulated as a knowledge base, that is the thing which is going to help you to answer the questions. So, first 15 days, once I'll complete all the 5 major subjects. Second 10 days, I'll be able to complete all the 5 major subjects in the second time. And I will not study anything on 9th of October. 9th of October, I'll just cool down myself. I'll keep my hall ticket. I'll be seeing where is my exam center. All these things I'll do sometime before itself. Because, searching the examination center on the examination day also will cause tension. So 1 week or once you get the hall ticket, this week or next week, you go to the exam center and just have to have a glance of your exam center. You have to see how much time it takes for you to travel. Small petty things have costed the attempts of students. I'm telling you, small things for which students are paying 1 year, 2 years of their life. So ensure that from your end, you are not committing any mistake. Right? Still, you will be having some mistakes to commit, but those mistakes will not cost our attempts and all. Right? Even topper got the topmost mark after committing mistakes only. Right? Now, this is some basics which you need to know, that what to study, how long to study. Getting my point or not? Now come to the strategy which you have to employ to attempt Indian polity questions. See, some questions will be totally new questions, alien questions, foreign questions. If you touch, you are gone. Don't touch these questions. Second type of question will be, you will be able to eliminate one choice, but you will be confused about all the 3 choices. So I am able to eliminate D, but I am not able to fix whether it is A or B or C. These questions also don't attempt. Third type of question, I am able to eliminate C and D, but I am not able to decide upon whether A or B because I know either A or B. Such questions you must have to attempt, because you have the probability of 50% in making those questions right. right? So totally alien questions I will not touch. I am able to eliminate only one choice. Three choices I am not able to decide upon, leave the question. Two choices I can eliminate, touch the question. 50% probability is there for you to make the right question. And fourthly, a question which you know answer for without saying, you will be able to attempt those questions. Time limit is very, very important, my dear friends. 9 o'clock the examination starts means by 10 o'clock you should have attempted 50 questions out of 100. Failing which we will not be able to complete the paper. So every 1 hour, in between 1 hour, you see whether you have crossed 50 questions or not. Working in rounds is very, very important. In the first sight, you may not be able to identify the answer, but when you go for the second round of reading, you'll be able to identify the answer. So don't spend more time on one single question. Read very fastly. In the first round, you attempt some questions. In the second round, you attempt some other questions. In the third round, you attempt some other questions. So first round, you are attempting those questions which you cannot attempt. Put it around. So next round, only rounded questions you see. Out of those rounded questions, some questions you'll be able to attempt, and still some questions will be left. Give some marking. Instead of one round, you put 2 rounds. Third round, you go 2 rounded questions and all you see. This is how working in round is very, very important for you. Right? Now, coming to the subject, content is going to give you strategy. That is what I am going to speak about today. The content of the question itself is going to give you strategy. So, some basic rules you have to follow, which I have completed. But now, through the questions, through the content, I am telling you some important strategy. On one hand, it can be a strategy. Secondly, it can be some value addition for your preparation. Understood? Now, come to the question asked in 2020 about constitutional government. Everybody will be able to answer this question. But still, there are some students who may not be able to answer the question. This answer or answer for this question is present in 6th standard, 7th standard NCERT book. Constitutional government. So you see, government by legislature. Is it a constitutional government? Popular government. In NCERT book, they have told that Robert Mugabe in Zimbabwe was very popular. He formed the government, but that government disobeyed constitution. So popular government may be against constitutional government, right? So this is wrong. Multi-party government, even in bi-party government there is present constitution. So why only in multi-party? The very purpose of constitution is to put the speed breaker for the government. And this is what is the right answer. How much time it takes for you? When you decide upon the answer, you should ensure that other three choices are wrong choices. This is right, not because it is right. This is right because other choices are wrong. So understand this technique. I will not decide that this is the answer by seeing this answer. I will decide this is answer because this is absolutely wrong. This is absolutely wrong. This is absolutely wrong. And therefore, this is right. So, I am going to cross check that I know this is the definition of constitutional government, and I also know that the other three choices are wrong. So, through this double check only, I am identifying the right answer. Thereafter only, I am going to shade the answer. So, making the other choices wrong before you choose the right choice is a very, very important strategy which you have to follow. This will avoid you in committing mistake. This will prevent you committing mistakes. Right? So, invalidating the other choices before you decide upon the right answer is the strategy which you have to get from this question called as constitutional government. Now read this question which was asked in 2020. Constitution of India defines its basic structure. So very, very obviously, they'll be giving you a clue in the statement. Whether Constitution of India defines basic structure. This concept of basic structure is not at all defined. It is not defined even by the Supreme Court of India. What to speak about Constitution? It is not even defined by the Supreme Court of India. In the case of Ananda Bharati case, they have not defined what is basic structure. Right? So this is neither defined by Supreme Court nor defined by Parliament, not even defined by the Constitution of India. Then they say it defines the basic structure, because if you don't carefully read the word defines, you think that basic structure is federalism, secularism, fundamental right, democracy. Your mind will tell that this is right. Inch by inch you have to read, my dear friends. Inch by inch you have to read. So defines. Every time when you read the statement, you have to have the pencil with you. Underline each and every word. Word by word you have to confirm. Word by word you have to process. Otherwise, what happens? This defines will miss. We will miss out this define. Something will blind you. Something will blind you. It will be out of your vision itself, that defines, which is what is the key word. So once you find that this is wrong, right, then go to the next statement. Constitution of India provides for judicial review. Whether Constitution provides for judicial review. This may be a very big confusion which may come. You have to understand that something which we are very clear about outside the examination hall, on the same thing we will be getting too much confused in the examination hall. Outside examination hall it is very clear, but when you go into the examination hall, when you see the question paper, that time only all sorts of confusion will come. What confusion will come? The word judicial review is not there in the Constitution. The word is not there. So sometimes our mind will think in this way, the word judicial review is not there, so therefore in Constitution judicial review is not there. But even though the word is not there, Article 13 very clearly says that if a law violates fundamental right, that law will be declared inconsistent to the fundamental right. It will be declared null and void by the Supreme Court to the extent of such infringement. What is that concept? Though they have not used the word judicial review, the definition of judicial review they have given in Article 13. So Constitution speaks about judicial review. If suppose judicial review is not there in the Constitution, how then judicial review will become the basic structure? You will apply the same logic. Federalism, the word is not there in the Constitution. Will you say that federalism is unconstitutional? So don't mechanically go by the word given in the question. Understand the meaning of the question. Always process like this. Judicial review is not there as a word in the Constitution. So judicial review becomes unconstitutional. No. Judicial review is highly constitutional, even though the word is not there, but the concept is there in Article 13 of the Constitution. Right? So the second question is judicial review to safeguard for what? Safeguard the liberty of the citizens, ideals of the Constitution. So definitely 1 is wrong, 2 is right. That is what is the right answer. 1 is wrong and 2 is right is the right answer. Right. So the key strategy here is sometimes the word may not be explicitly present, but the concept is there in the Constitution. Though not the word, concept is there in the Constitution. Go to the next question. What are the appropriate characteristics of bureaucracy? Appropriate. That is the key word. Appropriate. Why bureaucracy came? Simple. Implementation. Implementation. Legislation will be made by the Parliament. Implementation will be done by executive through civil servants. So the first question, the first statement, an agency for widening the scope of parliamentary democracy. Whether parliamentary democracy only has bureaucracy? Presidential system do not have bureaucracy. But when you read this, something may tell you that why not this, maybe, why not this? This also can be there, because parliament and bureaucracy, that is how our mind will think in the examination hall. So, question is clearly giving you a hint, appropriate feature of bureaucracy, exact feature of bureaucracy. They are telling you, be specific, don't be general. So, when question is specific, answer cannot be general. When answer is general, when question is general, answer should not be specific. Understand this. When question is specific, answer should be specific. When question is general, answer also should be general. Right? Question is specific, so answer should be specific. Agency for widening the scope of parliamentary democracy. Bureaucracy will widen the scope of democracy. Not necessary. Agency for strengthening the structure of federalism. We saw that civil services, all India services, giving you more centralizing tendency. It is not federal, it is more centralizing tendency. So this is wrong. Here I am not able to decide, but this I can decide that it is against federalism. An agency for facilitating political stability and economic growth, whether bureaucracy will ensure economic growth and political stability. Sometimes this may also seem to be a correct answer, because you will confuse here with, there are two types of executives. One is the permanent executive, another is the political executive, who is relatively temporary. Permanent executive is civil services or bureaucracy. Political executive is the ministers who are elected. So somewhere you studied, no, this thing, it will come in the way of this answer. It will tell you that it is facilitating stability, because it is permanent structure. So permanent structure is bureaucracy. Permanent structure always gives you stability. Like that, we should not conclude, because simply they have asked what is very appropriate. It is an agency for implementation of public policy. Policy implementation is the main job of bureaucracy. So, using some remote connections, if you try to see a very specific question, you will go wrong. Remote connection will give you a general understanding. General understanding should not guide the specific question. When question is very specific, your answer should be very specific. Very specific answer will not come from remote connection. It will come from direct connection. Understanding this or not? So, if you try to link the dots, it is not going to give you specific answer. It has to be a very straightforward answer. What is the straightforward answer? Policy implementation, that's all. So I repeat the strategies. Don't go for remote connection of the dots when the question is very specific. This is what is remote connection. Permanent executive, stability, remote connection. Policy implementation is bureaucracy, specific connection. Appropriate characteristic is specific, hence answer is very specific. Answer is agency for public policy implementation. Now, some questions from preamble was asked. In 2020, this question was asked. Preamble is a part of the constitution, but it does not have any legal effect. This seems to be correct. I told you, no, without reading other three choices, if you touch the answer, you are gone. It seems to be correct, because it has no enforceability. It is a part of the constitution. So some students reading A, they'll shade A. Okay, this is okay. It's there in my answer, but I'll confirm whether this is right or wrong. Not a part of constitution, wrong. It's a part of the constitution. part of the constitution and has the same legal effect as any other part. Is it having the same legal effect like any other part? Fundamental right is having its own application. Whether it can be enforced in that way? No. It is a part of the constitution, yes. It is a part of the constitution, yes. But here where same legal effect, which means preamble is like fundamental right, no. Because this is directly enforceable, this is not directly enforceable. As a preamble, it is enforceable, it cannot be enforced. As a fundamental right, it can be enforced. So both are not same, so therefore it is not having the same effect as that of the other part. A part of the constitution, but has no legal effect independently. Stand alone, it does not have any effect, legal effect. As a stand-alone concept, it does not have any legal effect. But Supreme Court has told that preamble is a key to unravel the mind of the makers of the constitution. Preamble simply means two things. One is fundamental rights and second is DPSP. A combination of these two is what is your preamble. For example, preamble speaks about liberty. It speaks about equality. It speaks about justice. So, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, worship, equality of opportunity, equality of status, justice, social, political, economic. So, it has economic justice, it has social justice, it has equality of status, therefore, it is very important for socio-economic justice, which is what is your DPSP. It has liberty of thought expression, liberty of faith, belief, worship, and this is what is fundamental right. So that is why I am telling preamble is nothing but a mixed fruit juice of both fundamental rights and directive principles. When you read without reading all the three, you may end up making this as the right answer, but this is wrong answer because the best answer is in D. That is why I told you without reading all the options, don't shade the answer. Now go to next question, fundamental right based questions. In 2020, they have asked you about which fundamental right incorporate protection against untouchability. A very, very straightforward question. Very simple it is, Article 17. But here where we may miss out. Exploitation is 23, 24. Right to freedom is which article? 19 to 22. Constitutional remedy 32. Right to equality 14 to 18. So this is 17, you know, and this is what is the right answer. It takes only 10 to 15 seconds for you to answer this question. Now go to this question. The question says about Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948. We know that there is a Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. Based on that right only, we came to speak about rights. Right? But we are not very sure whether it will be giving you the source for preamble, it will be giving you some inputs for DPSP, it will give you some inputs for fundamental duty. Here where you have to apply your logical mind. A universal declaration. It is a universal declaration which was made in 1948, and that time we were writing our constitution. Therefore, our makers of constitution have heavily lifted provisions from this declaration itself. This declaration is speaking about human rights. Now, logically speaking, preamble is having human rights or not? You don't know the charter and all. You don't know this Universal Declaration of Human Rights provisions and all. Here, you have to apply your logical mind. What is preamble? It is nothing but fundamental rights and DPSP. So, this is right. Preamble also contains rights. So, definitely it will come logically. Then, directive principles of state policy. I've told that preamble is equal to fundamental right plus DPSP. If preamble is there, DPSP also will be there. And what is there in DPSP related to right? You have in DPSP related to right? Yes or no? You have right in DPSP. For example, right to education, primary education. Right to early childhood care you have. Right to maternity benefit you have. Right to employment you have. Do you have right to employment? Do you have right to public assistance? You have in DPSP rights. Right? So, when you have a right, it is a universal formula that no right will be a stand-alone concept without duty. Because duties and rights are two sides of the same coin. When such a huge declaration is made on fundamental right or human right, will they speak about only right or they will use duty as well? Logically speaking, you tell me, will such a big declaration speaking about right, no right is without duty, because if I have a right, you have a duty. If you have a right, I have a duty. I am a child. I have a right to elementary education. You are my parent. You have a duty to send me to school or not? Which is what is your fundamental duty under 51 AK? So here where you have to apply your logical mind. Don't go by strict reading of the provision. Apply logical mind. Preamble is right. Preamble is also DPSP. So preamble, when it comes, DPSP also will come. And in DPSP, you have rights. If you have a right in preamble, if you have a right in DPSP, always rights will be matched with duties. So duty also will have to come. When you have such a strategy on questions which is involving a concept which you know, but you don't know the specifics of that, it is very general. A general statement is one which comes by connecting many things. A specific statement is one which does not involve connection of many dots. It connects only one dot. Universal Declaration of Human Rights is specific or it is very general? You tell me. It's a very general document or it is very specific document? General document. It's a very general document. In that you have rights, you have duties, you have directive principles, everything. So, when there is a universal declaration, universal means contains many things. Contains many things means it contains rights, it contains duties, it contains DPSP also. Like that, you have to have a conclusion. If you don't decide based on your information, you have not studied this, but through this logical connection, you will be able to come out with the right answer. So the strategy is this: when there is a universal declaration, it incorporates many things. Without that, they will not have made a universal declaration. Understanding this strategy or not? Now come to the next question. Which of the following would you accept as the most appropriate definition of liberty? What do you mean by that appropriate? Very specific. Look at this, that they are giving in the question specifics. Earlier I have told you that in Bureaucracy question, they were asking you about the appropriate feature of bureaucracy. Here they are asking you about the appropriate definition of liberty. Be specific. Protection against tyranny of the political rulers. Is that liberty? I don't know. It seems to be correct. So I'll read a second. Absence of restraint. Yes. Absence of restraint. Yes. Liberty means absence of restraint. There is one philosopher, his name is Lasky. He says liberty means absence of restraint. So A seems to be correct. B also seems to be correct. Opportunity to do whatever one likes. Whatever you like, will you do? No. Definitely by seeing this, I come to know that this is wrong. Opportunity for developing oneself fully. Yes. There is one philosopher, Ernest Barker. He says, yes, this is right. See, confusion comes. When you go by Lasky, he says this is right. And this seems to be correct. This is the only thing which I know that it will not come. But all the remaining choices are very close choices. Now, I have to take a call. What logic I'll use to make a call? All the three seems to be correct only. Here, which is most appropriate? Which is most appropriate? Appropriate means something which is very correct. All are correct. All the three are correct. But most correct, which is the best answer? The best answer is this. Because it is not about restraint, absence of restraint. It is about absence of irrational restraint. It's not absence of general restraint. It is about irrational restraint. So, presence of rational restraint and absence of irrational restraint only should be called as liberty. And we have this reasonable restrictions with respect to liberty of free speech as given in Article 19(1)(a). There is a reasonable restriction which you can impose under 8 grounds given in Article 19, Clause 2. So, reasonable restriction should be there. It is not no restriction at all. It's not opportunity to do whatever you wanted to do. It's not just about the protection against the tyranny of the political leaders or political rulers. Most correct answer will be self-development. Why liberty you have to have? You have to have liberty, then only you can have self-development. Your spiritual, your mental, your moral, your physical development can happen only when you have liberty. So, the purpose of fundamental right is holistic development of individual. Psychologically, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So, it's a comprehensive development of the individual, which is what is the purpose for granting fundamental right. Liberty is your fundamental right. So, overall development of you is the purpose of fundamental right. And therefore, my answer is opportunity to develop one's own self fully, because liberty is your fundamental right. Fundamental right is for self-development comprehensively. Right? So, this also should be driven by the basic concept called fundamental right. Why fundamental right will have to be given to you? To develop you. Self-development is guaranteed through fundamental right. Liberty is your fundamental right, because Article 21 gives you right to liberty as a fundamental right. So, like this, you have to think when it comes to the concepts of Indian polity. Again, liberty question was asked in 2018. Law and liberty. Just now we spoke about how without law there can be any liberty. Can there be any liberty without law? Because just now we said that there has to be a reasonable restriction for your fundamental right. Liberty is your fundamental right. So reasonable restriction can be imposed only by a law. Without law, there cannot be reasonable restriction. Without reasonable restriction, there cannot be liberty. That is what the definition or the relation between law and liberty. Now read. If there are more laws, there is less liberty. Is that true? When you have too many laws, it means less liberty. Why can't there be too many laws which gives you more liberty possible? With more and more laws, there can be more and more liberty. Why only more law means less liberty? That is wrong. Because with more law, you can have more liberty also. So this is wrong. Now come to this. If there are no law, there is no liberty. This seems to be right. Law will have to be there for liberty. No law means no liberty. Straight away, the connection comes. If there is liberty, law have to be made by people. People will make law. People do not have the wisdom to make law. That is why you have a legislature which is specialized to make law. People cannot make law. It will become a jungle law. If laws are changed too often, liberty is in danger. No, with more and more law, I told more and more liberty can be given to you. More and more law means more and more liberty can also come. Why should you always think negatively? More and more law means less and less liberty. More and more law means more and more liberty. This is the biggest constitution of the world when we wrote our constitution, having 395 provisions, which gives you more in detail your liberty. Right? So, conceptually, when you are strong, liberty is a question which frequently comes. Conceptually, when you are strong, it becomes easy for you to pin down the answer, to fix the answer. Now come to the next question. Which article of the Constitution of India safeguards one's right to marry? Very, very simple. Right to marry in a very famous judgment called as Hadia case. 2017 Supreme Court of India said right to choose one's spouse comes under Article 21, that is right to privacy. Choosing one's spouse is right to privacy, which comes under Article 21, called a right to life or personal liberty. Because right to privacy has been called as right to life. It's a fundamental right according to Supreme Court in a very famous case called as Justice Puttasamy case. Understood? So recently, what are there in the news? Right to be forgotten. Kaushik, the one who was winning in 2018 Big Boss, he went to Delhi High Court and told that there are some very wrong information about me in the internet. He was arrested for drink and drive. Drunk and drive he was arrested for, and he fought with the policemen. They jailed him. He was imprisoned for 1 day and he was made to pay a penalty. And internet is full of bad news about him. He says that in future, when people read this, they will be looking at my bad side. I don't want this to be in the internet. Kindly tell the internet service provider or the platform owner to remove the content. To remove the content, even Delhi High Court was once telling that we have given a judgment which is available in the internet. Kindly remove that judgment from the internet itself because we have given wrong judgment. And right to be forgotten is claimed by the petitioner as right to privacy. But the court has not decided upon. So right to be forgotten is there in the news, which can come in the question paper. I've told it's about 21 and the answer is 21. Very, very simple question. Main features of rule of law. Rule of law means what? Supremacy of law predominance of legal spirit, and thirdly, equality before law. These are the three important principles of rule of law. Equality before law, predominance of legal spirit, and supremacy of law. Equality before law, right? Liberty and civil rights, is it rule of law? People's responsibility to government, is it rule of law? People are responsible to government and rule of law. You have to follow not the government. Government will have to follow law. That is what is rule of law. Law will not follow government. Government will have to follow law. So people being responsible to government doesn't mean rule of law, because government itself will have to follow law. People have to follow law. People should not follow government. So this is wrong. When you know third will not come, third will not come, third will not come, and the question is 2 and 4, 1, 2, 3. Right? So here, which is the right answer? 2 and 4, 1, 2, 4. Definitely 2 should come. 2 should come. Default 4 is right. 4 is right. The question is now whether 1 will come or not. Whether 1 will come or not. Rule of law means supreme legal spirit. Legal spirit means what? Follow law. Following law means restraining you or not. Government will have to follow law means what? Government cannot do whatever it wanted to do. They still will be constrained by law. So answer is what? Answer is C. So these are some of the basic concepts which you have to understand at the very foundational level. Go to the next question. Rule of law index is released by which among the following? This is a bouncer question for some students who do not know World Justice Project. So if you do not know this, don't touch it. India was ranked 69 out of 128 countries in this World Justice Report. World Justice Project is an intergovernmental organization or non-governmental organization. It is a non-governmental organization. It is giving ranking of countries based on 8 parameters, like corruption level, right? So there are 8 parameters, like the constraints of the government power, like the absence of corruption, openness of the government, then civil justice, criminal justice, like that 8 parameters are there. Based on these 8 parameters, the World Justice Project is coming out with this rule of law index. If you don't know such questions, don't touch this question, because anyhow you will may be making wrong. So I told this comes under unknown question. Right to privacy, personal liberty. Very, very straightforward question. Personal liberty and all, Article 21. So it takes only 5 seconds for you to make this question right. Here you does not involve any of your logic and all. Very, very straightforward constitutional question it is. Separation of power, right? Article 50. Simple, very, very simple to answer. Which part of the Constitution of India declares the ideal of welfare state? How much time it takes? 2 seconds, 3 seconds. But I told you, you should think that A is not right, I will decide upon B, C, D, then only I will fix C. So is it welfare state, fundamental right and welfare state? No. Preamble and welfare state, 7th schedule and welfare state. This is about division of power between the center and the state. That is why A is right. So this process is very, very important, my dear friends. The process is very important. Part 4, enforceable in the court. Very clearly Article 37 says not enforceable in the court. So the text will prevail. They shall not be enforceable in the court. Yes, 37 says. They influence the making of law. Yes, 37 says the government will have to give effect to these directives when they are making law. So this also is a very, very straightforward question for which answer comes very easily to you. So one should not come. Answer is 2 and 3. Then come to questions on what is this? Parliament or Rashtrapati Bhavan? This is Rashtrapati Bhavan. So the questions on President of India. President of India can summon a session of Parliament at such a place he thinks fit. Now, confusion will come. There is one Parliament. Whether President will tell that Parliament can be convened in any place. Here, we have to have a comparison of Parliament and Supreme Court. Article 85 says very clearly, President of India can summon a session of Parliament at any place he thinks fit. Yes, any place. Supreme Court, seat of Supreme Court, Article 130. Supreme Court can be convened in any place by the Chief Justice of India, but with the prior consent of the President of India. He has to take the consent of the President of India, after which he can call for the meeting of Supreme Court in any place. So any place you can summon the Parliament, any place you can convene the Supreme Court. Both are correct. Any place is right. Constitution provides for 3 sessions. No. 2 sessions. Because every 6 months you have to meet. So 2 sessions in a year. No minimum number of days. Is there any minimum number of days for the Parliament to transact the business? Not like that. So no minimum day is right. 1 is right. Answer is 1 and 3. Always when you get a question or when you read a statement, you try to see whether this statement is applicable to the other organs of the state. When you read President, you have to compare President with Governor. When you read Parliament, you have to compare with that of Supreme Court. So always try to read in a very comparable ways. Like you compare directives with that of fundamental rights. You compare duties with that of rights. When you try to, compare and study, you will become very clear. So don't study in a compartmentalized manner, study in an integrated manner. So this is right because of 85, and Supreme Court also can meet outside the Supreme Court anywhere they can meet. They can meet in Kanyakumari, they can meet in Ladakh also. Now come to this. With reference to the election of the President of India, consider the following statement. The value of the vote of each MLA varies from state to state. Yes or no? because MLA vote is equal to total population of that state divided by total number of elected MLAs of that state. So when population increases, value of the MLA vote increases, so there is differential values of the state MLAs. The value of the vote of MP of Lok Sabha is more than that of, is there any classification like this? All MPs are same, right? Because the value of MP is equal to total value of all MLAs divided by total number of elected MPs of both Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha. Here they are not making any distinction between the value of MLA, between the value of Rajya Sabha MP and Lok Sabha MP, but there is a differential value for the state MLAs, same value for the MPs. So this is wrong, and therefore answer is 1 only. Now come to this, with reference to legislative assembly of a state in India, consider the following statement. Governor makes customary address to the members of the legislature. Governor is making customary address. Same provision is there for the President of India. So therefore, based on Article 176 Clause 1, based on Article 176 Clause 1, he makes customary address of the House at the commencement of first session of the year. Earlier in the original constitution, you should understand that every session will have to start with President's address. But later amendment came that first session of the year. Otherwise, every session will have to start with the President's address. But amendment was made, thereby President will have to give an address to the joint sitting of both houses during the first day of the first session of the year. That's all. When state legislature does not have a rule on a particular matter, it follows the Lok Sabha rule on that matter. See, logically speaking, this may seem to be correct because we have this state legislature is comparable to parliament. So when you apply the logical sense, this statement appears right. But you should understand that there is a very particular provision called as Article 208 of the Constitution. The first part of 208 says that state legislature will make rule to govern themselves. Till they come out with a rule, second part says that the rule which was immediately in force before the commencement of constitution, a rule was followed by that state legislature just immediately before the commencement of constitution, that rule will continue. The rule which was in force at the commencement of constitution will continue. So one legislature will have one rule, another legislature will have another rule, and Lok Sabha will have another rule. Without knowing this very, very precise provision called Article 208, logically when you conclude, you will be caught. So this is wrong. The governor makes a customary address. Whether he is making a customary address, here one can get confused about customs versus constitution. Sir, constitution, it is not a custom. It is not a convention, it is a constitution. Like that, will you find any interpretation? Will you do any interpretation? Sir, it is not in the custom, it is there in the constitution. Because we have seen Article 176 Clause 1 says, the President of India will have to give a speech in the first session. Will you make a distinction like this? So customary here means what? Do not take this word custom and fight with that of constitution. Custom here means generally practiced. It's generally practiced. Right? Now go to this question. Which one of the following suggested that the governor should have an eminent person, should be an eminent person from outside the state and be a detached figure without intense political link? Straightforward factual question. Sarkaria Commission. Sarkaria Commission only told this. So this is a very factual information. No criminal proceeding shall be instituted against governor or president according to Article 361. The emolument and allowance of the governor of the state shall not be diminished during his term in the office. Yes or no? Article 158, clause 4 very clearly says, his emoluments and allowance shall not be reduced during his term. So both are correct. Also try to find out whether correct statement they are asking or not correct statement they are asking. Here where they may. So continuously they will tell you which of the following are correct, and in between they will put which is not correct. Your mind will not read that not correct. Always doubt the question. Doubt the question, but too much don't doubt the question. Little bit you doubt the question. That is why I told you in the first place, inch by inch you have to read the question. Don't haste. Now some questions on Parliament which came in the last 3 years. Rajya Sabha has equal power with Lok Sabha, right? Because here Rajya Sabha has special powers because of Article 312. New All India service will have to be created when Rajya Sabha passes a resolution by 2/3% plus voting in the national interest. Parliament can make law on creation of new services. So Rajya Sabha has more power. Removal of government is responsible to the Lok Sabha. So no confidence motion can be brought only in Lok Sabha. So Lok Sabha has more power. Cut motions can be introduced only in Lok Sabha. So only here both have equal powers. Equal power is what is asked. So this is the right answer. This also is relatively a very simple question. Now come to this question. A parliamentary system of government means all political parties are represented in the government. This is called as national unity government. A government headed by Hamid Karzai in Afghanistan. After the ouster of Taliban, America was putting in place a national unity government in Afghanistan headed by Hamid Karzai, in which all the parties were represented. So, when the nation is having some crisis, then definitely you must have to have a government where all parties are present, and that government is not parliamentary government. That government is called as national unity government. When Babri Masjid was demolished, when there was so much of tension in India, that time even the President of India was suggesting, why don't we have a national unity government? Because secularism is under threat. Let us have a national unity government where all the political parties will be represented in the government. But you do not have such a concept in India because we follow parliamentary democracy. Understood? So this is not a parliamentary government, this is a national unity government where all political parties will be there in the government. Government is responsible to the parliament and can be removed by it. Yes, Lok Sabha, no confidence motion, because Article 75 very clearly says Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to Lok Sabha. So this seems to be correct. but I'll decide upon the answer only after reading the other two choices. The government is elected by the people and can be removed by them. Government is elected by people and can be removed. People will remove. Parliamentary system of government is indirect democracy. This is direct democracy. No. The government is chosen by parliament but cannot be removed before completion of fixed term. Anytime they can be removed. If Lok Sabha wanted to remove the government, Lok Sabha will remove the government by no confidence motion. So this is wrong. Hence answer is B. So understand, the parliamentary system of government is a question which is asked many times. Liberty is a question which is asked many times. In the end of the today's session, I'll just tell you some important topics which you have to focus upon as far as Indian polity is concerned. Now come to this. Along with the budget, the finance minister also places other documents before parliament, which includes the macroeconomic framework statement. This is a typical bouncer question. Nowhere it is given. Nowhere it is given. It's a bouncer type of question. 2003 FRBM Act is giving you some targets to reduce the deficit. So targets were announced. How do you reduce the deficit? They have given some ways out. Always you can see this FRBM Act mandates that there has to be 3 statements which has to be presented before the parliament when budget is presented by the finance ministers. When budget is presented by finance minister, 3 important papers will have to be presented before the parliament, and one paper is this paper called as macroeconomic framework statement. The second paper is medium term expenditure framework statement. Medium term expenditure framework statement. Medium term expenditure framework statement. And the third is fiscal policy strategy statement. Fiscal policy strategy statement. These 3 statements will have to be presented by the finance minister during the presentation of budget as mandated by this FRBM Act. So this is the right answer. And this is what? 113 is about what? What is 113? Article 113. Charged expenditure, yes or no? And what is 112? Annual financial statement. What is 110? Money bill. It's not a convention, it is the part and parcel of the legislation. Not a convention, it is a part and parcel of the legislation that all the 3 papers will have to be presented by the Union Finance Minister when she or he is presenting the budget. But this is a very, very important fact which normally people don't get anywhere. So there is a thick book on parliamentary proceedings which mentions about all these things. But it is not possible for a student who has to prepare all these subjects to go through such huge books and all. Voluminous books are there which tells you about how parliament is having some sort of proceedings, the parliamentary practices. So some unique information it is which you have to get from some special sessions like this. Go to this Member of Parliament Local Area Development Scheme, MP-LAD scheme. 1993 it was initiated. MP-LAD fund must be used to create durable assets. Yes. Right? 5 crore is given. If you are MP Lok Sabha elected, then you have to spend this 5 crore in your constituency only. If you are elected MP Rajya Sabha you have to spend that money within the state from where you got elected. If you are nominated MP, Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, you can spend this money anywhere in India. Anywhere in India. Definitely 15% of the fund will have to be spent for SC population, 7.5% of fund will have to be spent for ST population. Unused funds cannot be carried forward. No, it is non-lapsable. It can be carried forward. Cannot carry forward is wrong. It can be carried forward. It is not lapsable. If you are not spending this year, you can use it in the next year. And who is the authority who has to see overall coordination and supervision of the work under this MP-led scheme? District collector. District collector is the authority who has to coordinate and supervise the entire work. And mandatory that at least 10% of the work will have to be supervised by the collector. District authority will have to supervise 10%. So this also is something which is very technical, and I would say that this comes under the question which is a bouncer question, not this clarity we have when we read the question paper in the examination condition. So this is right and this is wrong. This is right, right? This is wrong and this is right and this is right. So 3 is wrong. Answer is 1, 2 and 4. Now come to the next question. 2020 it was asked, according to Constitution of India, a person who is eligible to vote can be made as a minister for 6 months even when she is not the MP or MLA. We have very well in the Constitution under Article 75 similar provision in the state legislature that without even being member of the house you can be a minister. So minister without being MP or MLA possible, but that is only for 6 months, before which you have to get elected. Now, when you know this, you read this, Constitution of India says a person who is eligible to vote can be made as a minister. See, normally this will be missing. Our eye will miss this point. When you read very fastly, you read like this, Constitution of India says a minister can be a person even without becoming the MP or MLA for 6 months, which is right. Without becoming MP, MLA, anyone can be appointed as a minister for 6 months, which is right. But the key is, Constitution is telling one who is eligible to vote. Voting eligibility is not a criteria in the Constitution. But logically, this is correct. Right? Anyhow, you have to have a voting right without which you cannot get elected as MP, MLA. You have to be a citizen of India. Every citizen of India have a voting right under Article 326 of the Constitution. So, you do this connection. Citizen has right to vote under 326, Article 326, and that citizen can become minister without being MLA or MP within 6 months. She has to become MP, MLA, and therefore the first statement is right. But the question is very clear. Has Constitution specified the voter eligibility criteria to become the minister? No, which means that according to Constitution of India, I am a foreigner. I don't have any voting right. I am a foreigner. Right? Technically, I can be appointed as a minister. 6 months I can be minister. 6 months I can be minister. Is there any appointment criteria for minister? Anyone can be appointed as minister or not? For becoming MP, MLA, you have some qualification. But for becoming minister, there is no qualification at all. A foreigner can be appointed as minister for 6 months. After 6 months, his ministership will go. Again, he can be reappointed for another 6 months. Again, he can be reappointed for another 6 months. Every 6 months, he can be reappointed without becoming a MP or MLA. Possible or not? Possible. Which age factor? 18 years? I am telling you, need not have that eligibility criteria itself. There is no such criteria that you have to have a right to vote to get appointed as minister. No. Is there any criteria mentioned in the constitution that to become the minister you have to vote? You have to have a right to vote? No. Is there any age criteria for a person to become the minister? There is an age criteria to become MP, MLA. There is no criteria, age criteria for becoming a minister. That is why I am telling that according to Article 75, any person can be appointed as minister even even without becoming MP, MLA. Only for MP, MLA you have age criteria. So this understanding is required for you to make this question correct. Eligibility criteria is not there for a minister. No voting eligibility is stipulated by the constitution. According to RPA, a person convicted of a criminal offence for 2 or more years, he is imprisoned. He comes out of jail. From the date of release, 6 years, banned to contest in MP election or MLA election. That is why there is a demand made by a public interest litigation that there should be a lifetime ban on the convicted politicians. The Supreme Court of India also wanted that there has to be a tribunal made by the Government of India to dispose these cases concerning the convicted politicians within 1 year, which comes in the current affairs. So, for 5 years they are telling no, for 2 years. And therefore, this is also wrong. This is also wrong. Neither one nor two. Next. Now, independent regulators, how they are regulated. This is also a question which normally we do not find in any of the textbook which is popularly present. But there is one article which came in Economic and Political Weekly. The title of the article is Regulating the Regulators. Regulating the Regulators. In this article, they have spoken about Planning Commission, second ARC, Damodaran Committee. Planning Commission in 2008, second ARC in 2009, Damodaran Committee in 2013 wanted a direct parliamentary control of the regulators. A direct parliamentary control is needed. Regulators are independent, but they have to be controlled directly by Parliament, according to all these three. Also, in 2013, this commission called as Financial Sector Legislative Reforms Commission. Financial Sector Legislative Reform Commission 2013 spoke about the need for an independent regulator. They have told 4 important points for independence of the regulator, including regulator should be technically expertised people. Only technically expertised people will have to be regulator. Somebody who is not knowing anything about stock market should not become SEBI chief. Somebody who do not know about information technology should not become the TRI chief. So regulator will have to be expertised people, and with the change of government, regulator should not change. There has to be some sort of stability. Change of government should not lead to change of regulators, and therefore this commission called as Financial Sector Legislative Reform Commission in 2013 wanted independent regulators. But we have seen that parliamentary committees have scrutinized the functions of actions of regulators in the past. Take for example standing committees, that is financial committees and department related standing committee. They have scrutinized the functions of independent regulators. Department related standing committee has scrutinized the function of the independent regulators like a TRI. A department related standing committee connected to information technology has studied about the functioning of TRI, and they have prepared a report, but they have not tabled the report before the parliament, but they studied the functioning of TRI. Similarly, estimates committee, which is one of the 3 committees of financial committee, have also studied about the civil aviation sector, how this airport economy regulatory authority is fixing the price of the ticket. All these things were already studied by the estimates committee. So airport economy regulatory authority was studied by the estimates committee in the past. Department related standing committee on information technology has studied about the functioning of TRI. Joint Parliamentary Committee, which is an ad hoc committee, was studying how 2G spectrum was allocated. So we have ad hoc committees which studied the independent regulator. We have department related standing committee which studied the independent regulators. In fact, department related standing committee can also call for RBI governor to come and give explanation. They have the power to do that. They can even call for the RBI governor to come before them and ask questions. Why did you go for this monetary policy through your monetary policy committee? Like that they can question. So RBI and all can be questioned by department related standing committee on finance. But finance commission is not having any power to do so, and this only told that there should be independence of the regulator. Niti Aayog do not have that power to question them. So which means financial committees, department related standing committee, ad hoc committee of parliament can question the regulator. And this also is a question which normally you would not have exposed to. Therefore, this question comes under the category of a bouncer question. Parliament Prevention of Disqualification Act 1959 exempts several positions from that of the Office of Profit. Yes, above mentioned act was amended 5 times. This I don't know. This I don't know, right? The term office or property is well defined. It is not defined. In the law also it is not defined. In the constitution also it is not defined. So I know that it is not defined. With that single statement, I can make the right answer. 3 should come and 3 should not come, right? 3 should not come. 3 should not come. 3 should not come. 3 should not come. Whether it was amended 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, you need not know. So this is a technique called as elimination technique. When you fully know that a particular statement is correct, don't see the second statement, straight away go to the answer. When you fully know that a particular statement is wrong, don't read other statements, straight away go to the answers. This should not come. 3 should not come. Don't read 2, don't read 1, don't put your mind into that thing and all. Straight away, 3 should not come means 3 should not come, 3 should not come. So, whether 5 times they have amended or 8 times they have amended, that is not at all going to bother me. Anyhow, this is the only option left through elimination technique. So, selection is through elimination. And go to the next question. First Lok Sabha, single largest party in opposition was Swatantra Party. First Lok Sabha, 364 seats won by Congress. Second, Communist Party of India, 16 seats. Leader of opposition. So you see, in the first Lok Sabha, single largest party in opposition was Swatantra Party. CPI came second. So this is wrong. Lok Sabha leader of opposition was recognized for the first time in 1969. Yes, 1969 recognized, 1977 statutory recognition because of the act. So G.V. Maulankar, who was the first speaker, went for the 10% rule. LOP should be given to a party which is having 10% of the total seats. So minimum 55 MPs will have to be there for the party to get leader of opposition. But however, the law which is made in 1977 says the largest party in opposition should be called as LOP. LOP's post will have to give to the largest party in opposition. Supreme Court told that the conflict is between the rule made by the speaker, first speaker, and the law made by parliament. When there is a contradiction, law made by parliament will prevail. So largest opposition party will have to be given the LOP post according to Supreme Court of India. So this is wrong. This is right. And this is what? Minimum 75? No. More than 10% or largest party, largest opposition party. So this is wrong. When I know that this is wrong, so I know third statement is wrong, I'll directly go to the answer. You see, I don't know about Swatantra Party. I don't know about Swatantra Party because normally people don't read. But we know that 3 should not come because 3 is 75 MP it is saying. We know 10% rule. 3 should not come. 3 should not come. 3 should not come. Elimination technique. So don't get bewildered when you see a statement which is very, very new statement to you. If in the list of statements, at least one statement you know fully, whether it is right statement or wrong statement, you can solve the question. And most of the time, they'll play with your mind by putting the first statement as a very new statement for the first time you are reading. So when you read Swatantra Party, you are gone. Your mind will tell Swatantra Party, I do not read, I have no idea about this party itself. So first statement itself is something which is alien to me, Greek and Latin to me. With that mindset, you read the second statement, third statement, even known statement will become unknown to you. Always Greek and Latin type of statement will be the first statement, understand this, because they wanted to play with your mind. So don't get any worry when you read the first statement, you find Greek and Latin in that. Don't worry at all. Read the second statement with confidence. The Parliament of India can place a particular law in 9th schedule. Yes. 31B, First Amendment Act 1951, inserted two things. One is 31B, one other is 31A. This is for land reform, this is for 9th schedule. So this is right. The validity of a law placed in 9th schedule cannot be examined. This is wrong, because in a case called as I.R. Coelho case versus State of Tamil Nadu, 2007, Supreme Court said that the law kept in 9th schedule before 24th April 1973, the date on which Kesavananda Bharati verdict came, those laws will have judicial immunity, but those laws which were kept on or after this particular date will come under judicial review. So judicial review is possible. They are telling judicial review is not possible. Therefore, that statement is wrong. First statement is correct. Parliament of India having some parliamentary committees, they scrutinize the report of the House whether the power to make regulation, rule, sub-rule. Only when you read this, you will understand this. So a very proper reading of the parliamentary committee is needed. Committee on Government Assurance. There are separate committees in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And in Lok Sabha, how many members are there in Government Assurance? Committee on Government Assurance. How many members are there in Lok Sabha committee? How many members are there in Rajya Sabha committee? Can you make a try? How many members are there in Lok Sabha committee? 15 members in Lok Sabha, 10 members in Rajya Sabha. 15 in Lok Sabha, 10 in Rajya Sabha. Separately, there is a committee in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. When it comes to committee on subordinate legislation, right? 15 Lok Sabha, 15 Rajya Sabha, equal. Separately, these two committees will be functioning in both houses. Rules Committee. Rules Committee, 16 in Rajya Sabha and 15 in Lok Sabha. So this committee includes chairperson as well as deputy chairperson. When chairperson is there, chairperson of Rajya Sabha will be the chairperson of this rules committee. So this also includes speaker, who is the de facto chairperson of this rules committee. Business Advisory Committee. Separately in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, headed by the speaker in Lok Sabha, chairperson in Rajya Sabha. So, in case of Rajya Sabha, 11. In case of Lok Sabha, 15. Number of members in the parliamentary committee is a factual information which they are asking repeatedly. Now, which is Lok Sabha only committee? Will have to be a question. Which committee is there only in Lok Sabha? Which committee is there only in Lok Sabha? I am not asking which committee is there having only Lok Sabha members. My question is different. My question is not which committee is having only Lok Sabha members. My question is which committee is only in Lok Sabha? It is not there in Rajya Sabha. There are some committees which are there in Lok Sabha, not there in Rajya Sabha. Which is that committee? is the question which can come in UPSC examination. So when you read the parliamentary committee, 1, you should know how many members. 2, you should know whether Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha you have separate committees or you have a joint committee. Money bill. So 110 mentions about 6 matters which can be called as money bill. Only it should have 6 matters, right? So tax, then borrowing, then custody, then appropriation, then charged, then deposit of money. Tax, alteration of tax, abolishing tax, imposition of tax, borrowing of money, custody of Consolidated Fund of India, Contingency Fund of India, appropriation of money out of Consolidated Fund of India, right? Then charged expenditure, deposit of money into Consolidated Fund of India, public account of India, anything which is incidental to the above 6. Now, a bill shall be deemed to be money bill if it contains only provision related to imposition. Yes, a bill has provisions for custody of Consolidated Fund of India or Contingency Fund of India, custody of Consolidated Fund of India or Contingency Fund of India, right? Yes, custody of Consolidated Fund and Contingency Fund, yes. A bill which is concerned with the appropriation of money out of contingency, appropriation of money out of consolidated, so this is wrong. Yeah, money bill deals with the regulation of borrowing, yes, which is not correct. This is not correct. Not correct is this, so that is the answer. Now here what they are playing with, contingency, consolidated, public account, that they are confusing you, and therefore a very thorough reading of money bill is needed, right? Parliament of India can place a particular law, this already we have done. Speaker of Legislative Assembly shall vacate his office if she ceases to be a member. Yes. When vacation? Number 1, cease to be MP MLA. Number 2, resigns, writing to the Deputy Speaker. Number 3, what is number 3? Vacation is by ceasing, by resignation. Suppose there is a dissolution. Speaker continues. Right? So, immediately before the new speaker only, this old speaker will go. Till then, when a new parliament is constituted, new Lok Sabha is constituted, till that time old speaker will continue because he is the head of the Lok Sabha Secretariat, which is a permanent institution. So he is going to vacate his office when he is ceasing to be MP MLA, when he is resigning, and when he is removed. Now read. He vacates when he is ceasing. Yes. Whenever Legislative Assembly is dissolved, the speaker shall vacate. No. Continues. So, 1 only. The governor makes, already we have seen. Now come to judiciary. The decision taken by, what is the article? Article is about 142. It says, render complete justice. Supreme Court will have to render complete justice. It is not telling about High Court. Supreme Court will have to render complete justice. So, Supreme Court is not constrained in the exercise of its powers by laws made by Parliament because they have to render complete justice. If you know complete justice, you can easily identify the answer. Which means that they are asking the number. of article as well. 44th Amendment Act says that the election of Prime Minister is beyond judicial review. It is not 44th Amendment Act. This change was introduced by 39th Amendment Act. So factually incorrect statement. Supreme Court struck down 99th Amendment Act, yes, National Judicial Appointment Commission, because it is violating the independence of judiciary. So second statement is right, first statement is wrong, because instead of 44th Amendment, it should be 39th Amendment. Answer is 2 only. No High Court have the jurisdiction to declare any central law to be constitutionally invalid. So we know that 42nd Amendment Act inserted Article 228 Clause A. 42nd Amendment Act inserted 228, Article 228 Clause 2, which is removing the power from High Court, the power to judicially review the central law. Right? However, this mistake was corrected by the very next amendment called as 42nd Amendment Act, which says High Court can exercise judicial review of central law. No High Court shall have, no. Because of 43rd Amendment Act, this is a wrong statement. As High Court has the power to do so, so this is wrong because of no. An amendment to Constitution cannot be questioned by Supreme Court. It can be questioned. Neither one nor two. Judges Inquiry Act, the motion to impeach a judge is something which cannot be rejected. It can be easily rejected. It can be easily rejected. Right? The chairperson of Rajya Sabha rejected this when opposition party wanted to bring the motion to remove the Supreme Court judge, CJI. Rajya Sabha chairperson said, no, I will not allow this. So speaker, when it comes to Lok Sabha, chairperson of Rajya Sabha, they can very well accept or they can reject the, introduction of such a resolution seeking the removal of the High Court or Supreme Court judges. So cannot is wrong. Constitution of India defines and gives details of what constitutes incapacity. Is there any definition of what? This is a parliamentary exercise. Nowhere it is written, this is what is incapacity or this is what is proved misbehavior. No definition. Details of impeachment given in this act, yes. Motion for impeachment requires 2/3 of present plus voting by each house, yes. So 3 and 4. 3 and 4. Now go to the next question. Legal Services Authority is providing free legal services because of the 1987 Act. So you can avail this free legal service if you are a woman or child, if you are disabled, if you are an industrial workman, if you are a victim of disaster, if you are a victim of disaster, and if your annual income is less than 1 lakh. So now read. Person with annual income less than 1 lakh, yes. Transgender less than 2 lakh. Transgender less than 2 lakh. Actually, Delhi government has made this. OBC with an annual income of less than 3 lakh, no. All senior citizens, no. It depends. Right? So answer is What? 3 should not come, 4 should not come. 4 should not come, 3 should not come. So, answer should be given the choice. Supreme Court of India, in a case called as Samantha versus State of Andhra Pradesh case, says that if a tribal land is given to a private, then that is unconstitutional because of fifth schedule. So this is the case, Samantha versus State of Andhra Pradesh. If a tribal land is given to a private party for mining, it should be declared null and void under Schedule 5 of the Constitution, says Supreme Court of India. So very simple question. Aadhaar metadata cannot be stored for more than 3 months according to the regulation. Aadhaar metadata cannot be stored for more than 6 months. There is an authentication rule, rule number 27. Rule 27 of authentication rule. Rule 27 of the authentication rule very clearly says metadata cannot be stored for more than 6 months. State cannot enter into any contract with the private corporation for sharing of Aadhaar data. Section 57 of the Aadhaar Act says that state can share Aadhaar data with private party, but Supreme Court has struck down this section as unconstitutional. So therefore this is correct because of the striking out of 57, section 57 of the Aadhaar Act by the Supreme Court of India. It is mandatory for obtaining the insurance product. It is not mandatory. According to Insurance Regulatory Development Authority, IRDA, it is not mandatory, but it can be an ID card to purchase the insurance product. It is not mandatory, it is optional. So this is wrong. It is mandatory for getting the benefits. Yes, section 7 of the Aadhaar Act says if you wanted to get subsidy, you have to produce this Aadhaar account, Aadhaar data. So 2 and 4, this is wrongly given. 2 and 4 should be the correct answer. Again, a question came on Aadhaar. Aadhaar card can be used as a proof of citizenship. Aadhaar card, voter's ID, passport cannot be called as proof of citizenship. Aadhaar card, election ID and passport cannot be called as proof of citizenship. So this is wrong. Once Aadhaar is issued, the number cannot be deactivated. UIDAI can deactivate your number permanently or temporarily. Permanently or temporarily, this number can be deactivated by the UIDAI. So this is also wrong, and therefore neither 1 nor 2. So these are the questions which we have taken up for today's class to tell you how to read the question. And that forms the strategy for Indian polity. I'll just summarize. The first thing is, foremost thing is, don't jump into conclusions without reading all the 4 choices. Do not conclude the answer. Whatever may be the easiness of the question, do not jump into answer without reading all the 4 choices. Number 2, When the question is specific, like appropriate behavior, appropriate feature, when the question is specific, go for specific answer, which is straight away connecting one dot, not connecting many dots, which becomes a general answer. Number three, if you find the first statement is Greek and Latin, don't worry, read the second statement and third statement. You can find out one statement which is wrong or right, go directly to the answer. You will be gifted for that willpower to read the second statement after seeing the alien statement in the first place. Right? Go for elimination technique. Number four, work in rounds. One round, second round, third round. Because with the time, you will be able to decide upon the answer. Given extra time, our mind will come out with the right answer. So, allow the mind to process the question for a quite longer period of time, and mind will give you correct answer. Right? Fifthly, when you are getting a question which is not fully known to you, like Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is a very big thing, you should understand that any big thing will have everything, which is why it is called a big thing. So, as I have told you, Universal Declaration of Human Rights is mentioning preamble, it is the source for fundamental right, it is the source for DPSP, it is also the source for fundamental duty. Right? And sixth important thing which I have not told so far is that when you shade the answer, ensure that you are shading the correct question number only. Sometimes thinking that you are shading the first answer or the first question, you will shade the second question. So after every 5 questions, see whether you are properly shading or not, because there are many instances of students, instead of shading the first question, they start shading the second question. Ultimately, they end up with the 101st question, even though there are only 100 questions. So don't make such mistakes, because silly mistakes will cost our life. I am telling you. Right? So these are connected to the questions. And when it comes to how you have to maintain yourself in the examination hall, don't study till the 11th hour. October 9th, don't study. At least after 6 o'clock in the evening on October 9th, don't study. So just don't study. And don't call your friend to ask whether how much he or she completed. Because anyhow, your friend will lie, telling that they have not studied anything. And this will be a justification for our under performance also. So don't believe that. And as I have told that no social media thing will have to be waste, will be with you, which will waste your time. Literally, it will waste your time. And the synchronization of mind and body is what is the demand of this examination. My dear friends, you will clear this examination, but you have to believe that. You will clear this examination. That you have to do as a visualization. I'll clear this exam, I'll clear this examination. Your belief is having so many things. Your belief is your life. Because when you invest your thought, you reap your action. When you sow your thought, you reap your action. When you sow the action, you reap the habit. When you sow the habit, you reap the character. When you sow the character, you will get to your destination. So everything starts with the thought. And therefore, you should strongly believe that you can manage your time in the next 25 days. I am telling you that people clear this examination if they are able to use their time judiciously in the last lap of this marathon race. So whatever you have done, whatever you have not done is not going to be counted. What is going to be counted is what you are doing from now onwards. Right now onwards, what you are doing is going to decide whether we will be in the list or we will not be in the list. When you go to a temple, you pray to God. It is not because of your prayers that you clear this examination. You clear this examination not because of your prayer. You clear this examination not because of your desire. You clear this examination because you make yourself capable to clear the examination. So it is ultimately the work of you which will decide the luck of you. Luck, in order to work, you have to study. Only for hard workers, luck will work. For those people who are whiling away their time, luck will not work. So ultimately, end of the day, you have to have a satisfaction that you are able to clear many things. You are able to finish many things. So for the next 25 days, you have to have a timetable, pace the timetable and go ahead with your timetable. Even if you are not able to complete the timetable, you are falling short of your target, do not worry, keep doing your work. Because the power of your positive thought will definitely make your studies proper. So, even God cannot help those who do not have self-belief. Ultimately, the exam is centering around whether you are a positive personality or not, whether you can manage your time when there is a pressure exerted on you. Because in future, as an IAS officer, as an IPS officer, you will be given less resource, but you have to produce optimum result. You will be given so many stress and tension, but still you have to perform. So when there is a pressure, you have to perform, and that is what the typical triad of a civil servant, which is what is tested by UPSC through this examination called prelims, mains, or interview. So this is a personality test in the form of prelims. I would say that all the three stages are only personality test. In prelims, they are testing your personality. Positive persons will definitely be liked by all, including UPSC. So let us take a very strong pledge from now onwards that I will not succumb to all the pressures operating around me. Secondly, I will not be influenced by any negative thought. I will use my energy constructively for my examination purpose, even without a slightest degree of deviation from my examination. So, my mind, my heart, both will have to be filled with this UPSC, and definitely when the mind and heart matches with each other, that is the point of success. All the very best for your examination. Thank you. Tomorrow you have the session from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and tomorrow's session will be on strategy connected to science and technology environment, which will be handled by Suresh Kumar sir. Then third day you have the session by Vivekananda sir connected to geography strategy, and fourth day Mohan sir will teach you how to strategize for your economy. Fifth day Manikandan sir will teach you the techniques to strategize your history. So this is what is the plan of action. Next 4 days, stay tuned to our YouTube channel to see the video in order to gain the substance as well as strategy. All the best. Thank you.